Hey, what is up, guys? It's Cam here. Today we are going to be doing a different thing than we did with the movies. This one's going to be music, and we're also going to be rating these differently than we did with the movies. We're going to be individually ranking or rating actually each album. We're not going to be ranking them on the tier list today. We're going to be rating them out of 10, each album that I've listened to this year. And then I'm going to tell you guys the top 3 songs on those albums that, in my opinion. So yeah, let's get into it. And I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, the first album we have is Blind from iann Dior. This actually wasn't an album technically, but it's an EP. I'm going to count it as an album anyways. It has 5 different songs on it. And this album or EP was actually very good. I love this style iann Dior is going for. Many of you probably might not know iann Dior. He's a rapper, but he's going into a rock era where he's more guitar and using these instruments and actually going for more of a rock sound. And I really am liking this era he's in because every single song on this album is on my playlist. For this album, I will give this honestly, I know there's a short amount of songs and it's going to be hard to compare it to these other albums, especially the ones that are very long. I think I'm going to give this one a 9.5 out of 10 because literally, like I said, every song on this EP is really good. Only song I kind of was iffy on was The Funeral, which is the last song on that album, and it's still a good song. It just kind of bored me a little bit and kind of got tiring over time the more I listened to it. But like I said, this album's great. My favorite 3 songs on Blind were Kill You Slowly, House on Fire, and Crazy For You. Those 3 were great songs. And I know Kill You Slowly is not really a popular pick for this album. It's probably the least played one. But I love that song so much. It's so catchy and I don't get tired of it. The more I listen to it, the better it gets. And those are good songs right there that can have that effect on you. So yes, I love this album and I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. Alright, now for another album that I have loved this year. And I was very hyped for this album to release. It's Imagine Dragons' album LOOM. And I love this album. It's great. There are a few songs that are very iffy. I also didn't like how there's only 10 songs, and one of them is just a remix of one of the other songs on the album. It's Eyes Closed, and then there's a remix of Eyes Closed. That makes 10 songs, so this is not a huge album at all. I wish they just kind of extended it more with how much time they've had between their last album and this album. I feel like they could have put some more stuff into it. Actually contained my favorite song from this year though, so honestly, I think I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I think I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. It's a great album. It was good. The more I listened to it, the more I grew on it. I actually added more songs to my playlist the more I listened to it. My top 3 songs on this album were In Your Corner, Eyes Closed, and Don't Forget Me. Those 3 songs were amazing. From the second I listened to them, I knew those songs were great. Especially In Your Corner, because that is my favorite song actually from this entire year. That song just, I don't know why. It's so good. I can't stop listening to it. I've had it on repeat for all year long, and it doesn't get old. It's just an amazing song. It's just, I'm listening it to the first time every time I listen to it. It's so good. But yeah. This one I'm going to give an 8 out of 10, even though it has a great song on it. I think there are some other songs that could have been better. Also, the short length of it is going to get it knocked down a little bit. So, yeah, 8 out of 10 for this one. All right, and this one's going to hurt me because, I've made OneRepublic videos on this one, but this album was just not it for me at all. I did not like it one bit. And it was actually very hard for me to pick 3 songs off of this album that I like because I only like 2. Yeah, this album was not it. It's definitely not their strong suit. So like I said on the Human album that I rated a long time ago and ranked, this has gotten 10 times more popular than that. And I thought that album was poppy and kind of bland. This one is 10 times worse. I was not expecting it to be this bad. And they also included so many other singles that they've had for over the years. And that was most of the majority of the songs that I've already heard on the album. There was really nothing new to it, and the new songs in it were not great. And some of them were just instrumentals. And I know that's not a bad thing, but I kind of want to hear singing too, I want to hear some more singing. I liked Waking Up where they're singing and then an instrumental at the end. Like In Your Corner, they're singing an instrumental at the end. I wish they wouldn't just do instrumentals and that takes up most of the album. I don't like that. And the ones they do singing, I just am not a fan of, especially the new ones. They are just not my favorite. But I think my favorite songs on this album would be West Coast, I Ain't Worried, and Artificial Paradise. Those are my 3 favorites on this album. There are some others that I kind of like, but other than that, those are definitely the top 3 for this one. I also think I'm going to give this album a 4.5 out of 10. It just wasn't their strong suit. It was not the album that I wanted to hear. It had too many just fill-ins, I felt, for me. And that's why it's going to be so low on this rank. All right, now we have Eminem's Death of Slim Shady. This album, I actually was not expecting to be so good. I had this on repeat for quite a while right after it released. I love this album. And it actually released at the same time Artificial Paradise. I think it released on the exact same day Artificial Paradise released. And this one blew Artificial Paradise out of the water. Or it blew that away. It left it out to die. Eminem's album was 10 times better than the other one, or Artificial Paradise. So I was listening to this way more. I think my favorite songs on this album were Evil, Renaissance, and Fuel. Like I said, there's a lot of other ones that are pretty great too, but those definitely are my 3 favorites because those songs are amazing. And I know a lot of people think Houdini's one of their favorites, and I don't disagree. It's a good song, but I think these 3 are just way better than Houdini. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Honestly, I think I'd give this album a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a very good album. There are some weird songs in it, some overrated songs, some songs I just did not like at all. So I'm not going to give it an 8, but I'm going to give it like a 7.5, a little bit less than an 8. All right, and next we have Ultra 85 from Logic. This actually introduced me to Logic. I knew Logic existed back in the past, but I heard things about him falling off and all this different stuff where it wasn't really worth listening to him. I listened to his entire discography this year, and oh my god, he is so talented. He is very good at rapping. And this, by far, is my favorite album of his. His brand new album is his best album he's ever made. I have been listening to some of these songs like all year long on loop. It's that good. Definitely my favorite song from this album is definitely In Retrospect. That song, especially the instrumental at the end, the beat, it's just so catchy. The writing, everything about that song has me hyped. I love that song so much. It's a great song. I even showed it to my dad, who doesn't like rap, and he likes it. He likes the song. And I was very surprised because he doesn't like rap. He likes Logic though. He thinks he's very talented. And that proves a lot. So someone who doesn't even like that genre to like your song, that shows talent. My top 3 are In Retrospect, Gardens 3, and Thank You for Believing in Me. Those are my top 3 for that album. And I think this actually might be my favorite album of this year. It had so many songs on it that I liked, and so many songs in general, and I had most of them I liked. And I think I had like almost 20 or maybe even over 20 songs on the album, and I liked almost every single one of them. That's a great album right there. So I think this one's going to be like a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's going to be like very high up there. It's very good. And to be that high up with all those songs shows a lot. That album is just so good. I love this album a lot. So 9.5 out of 10 for Logic's Ultra 85. I really like that rank. Okay, now we're on to 21 Savage's American Dream. This came out very early this year, and I remember I didn't really like 21 Savage before. And this is, I still don't really, I'm not a huge fan of him, and there's music, but I remember one of my coworkers recommended a song called All of Me, which is on this album. And that actually is my favorite song on this album. It blew me away. The song's very good. That song individually is my favorite. The rest of the album's okay. There are some other songs that are really good, but nothing beats All of Me for me. It's just a great song for me. I think this album's gonna get a 6.5 out of 10, I think, because I think there were more songs on there that I didn't like overall. I only like 5 or 6, I think, out of the whole album I have on my playlist. So and some of the more popular ones actually were not my thing at all, like Red Rum. I did not like that song at all. And yeah, I think this one's a 6.5 out of 10. I think that's what I'm gonna give it. My top 3 songs were, like I said, All of Me, NHIE, and Sneaky. I think Sneaky is possibly debatable. There are some other songs that I could have put there, but Sneaky I actually kind of like a lot more, so I put Sneaky there. So All of Me, NHIE, and Sneaky are my top 3s. And it's gonna be a 6.5 out of 10 for The American Dream. All right, and next is another album that many of you might have not heard of. It's from a very unpopular band. Now, you probably have known them before though, because they had a very popular hit, Sail, a long time ago. But this is their newest album, The Phantom 5. It's AWOLNATION. AWOLNATION's Phantom 5 was amazing. I'm actually going to the concert for this album in April because I bought tickets for my dad for Christmas. And yeah, I love this album. And my top 3 for this album were Panoramic View, Outta Here, and A Letter to No One. Those 3 songs are great. And there are a lot of others that are great, like I Am Happy, Barbarian. Like, those songs are great too, but I think these 3 are my favorites. It was kind of hard for me to pick my top 3 because of how many songs I liked on this album. I think there were only like 2 songs on this album that I didn't care for. But yeah, Panoramic View in particular, I love that song. I love it every time I play it. It does not get old. It's just a great, beautiful song. I think I'm going to give this album a 8 out of 10. I think it's going to get an 8 out of 10. It's not their best, but I loved it. I think it might be my second favorite or third favorite album from them in general. It's a very good album. I liked it a lot. All right, and next we have Moon Music from Coldplay. Coldplay is suffering from one of the things I think OneRepublic is suffering from, and that's going towards the more poppy genre with their music. I hated their last 2 albums. Their last 2 albums were very bad. Only a few songs on their last album and none on the Everyday Life album before that I liked. So Moon Music was a little bit of an improvement. I liked 2 of their songs a lot, and then the other ones were kind of like mediocre. My top 3 are I Am a Mountain, All of My Love, and Moon Music, which is what the album is named after. I actually think I Am a Mountain and All of My Love are the better ones out of that whole entire album. Moon Music's a little bit more down, but it's still probably my 3rd favorite song on the album. I think there were only like 5 songs on the album in total that I liked, and it just was an underwhelming album. I think it was better than Artificial Paradise, I'll give it that. I think this one's going to be a 5 out of 10 though. 5 out of 10. Alright, next we have Kendrick Lamar's GNX. And this album, I think, is overrated, but it actually has some very good songs on it. Very, very good songs. Especially one of them is Waxed Out Murals. That is such a good song. It's like one of my favorite Kendrick songs I've heard in a long time. Very, very, very good song. I love the beat to that song. It just gets me hyped every time I listen to it. So my top 3 for this album would be Waxed Out Murals, Reincarnated, and Dodger Blue. Yeah, those are my top 3. Those are all 3 really good. I think Reincarnated is also very good. I know it's a highly rated song on this album. It's probably a lot of people's favorites. I think Wax Out Murals beats it a tiny bit because of how good that beat is, along with his rapping too. But Reincarnated, I will say, has some very good writing in it. Very unique, very good writing. You can tell what he's talking about. You can hear what he's saying. That's a very cleverly written song, and I love the idea behind it. So, but I think Waxed Out Murals just doesn't get beat for this one. This one's my favorite. Waxed Out Murals is my favorite song on that album. And I think I'm going to give this album I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It had some very good songs, but then it also had some others that were horrible. I did not like at all. Very different songs that for me. And I don't think this is his best album at all, but I think that's why I said it's overrated. A lot of people say this is like, oh my God, this is the best album of this year. It is not. It's not at all. There are very bad songs on it too, like some filler songs. But overall, this was a good album. I liked it. All right, now we're on to Juice WRLD's The Party Never Ends. And I'm going to have to admit, this album was kind of underwhelming. I mean, yeah, there were some songs on it that I liked. I feel like they're kind of digging into all of his unreleased songs and picking out a bunch of stuff that doesn't really need to be released. I feel like this album was kind of underwhelming. There were some very good songs on it, don't get me wrong, but I feel like his team did not need to release this thing. And I was actually very excited for this to release. It's mainly more for the fans of him, but I feel like they could have picked so many better songs. Like, I've heard unreleased songs from him that are way better than most of the songs on this album. And that was the only problem with it for me. I think my top 3 for this album are Empty Out Your Pockets, Adore You, and The Party Never Ends. Those are my top 3. I also have reacted to Lace It on this channel. I know that one I reacted to on this channel is actually my first video on this channel. That one's good, but I feel like these other 3 are actually better. I loved Lace It too. Those are like 4 songs that I actually really do like on this album. But my top 3, I think The Party Never Ends actually beats Lace It a little bit, because Juice WRLD's part on the party, or on Lace It, is not my favorite of his, but I actually did like his part on The Party Never Ends. That part I liked a lot. So I think I'm also gonna give this album I'm gonna give this one a 6.3 out of 10. I'm gonna be specific on this one. I don't think it's a 6.5, and I don't think it's a 6. It's a 6.3. I think it's like in the middle, like very close to 6, but also close to 6.5. It's very mid to me. I don't know. I felt like they could have really done way better unreleased songs from him and released those instead of releasing what they released on this album. All right, and last but not least, this is actually an album that I didn't know, or an artist I didn't know about until I heard him on the actual radio. I went into my car and I turned on the radio and I heard this song, and I actually looked up the station and looked up the song because I thought this was Hozier singing it, but it's actually not. It's David Kushner. They both sound very similar. And I didn't know anything about David Kushner. I've never even heard of him at the time. But I listened to his whole discography. He has like 2 albums in total. And my God, this last album he released this year was very good. And it actually contained the song that I heard on the radio, which is my favorite song on the album in total. It's called Darker Side. And this whole album is also called The Dichotomy. I don't know if I said that right. I'm not very good at pronouncing that, but The Dichotomy, I think, is what it's called. That album was very good. I liked it a lot. And I think the top 3 on this album, were Dark Side, Poison, and Skin and Bones. Those 3 were very, very good, especially Darker Side. Darker Side gets me hyped every time I listen to it. That song's just so good. And I knew it was going to be a good song since I listened onto the radio. As soon as I heard that, I was like, wow, this song's actually good. What is this? And I looked it up, and I have it on my playlist now, and a lot of other David Kushner songs. So yeah, this album I'm gonna give this one a 7.5 out of 10. The majority of the songs on there I actually really liked. Yeah, I think this one's a 7.5 out of 10. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, thank you for watching. Peace.